Alright, day 2, September 14th, 2014, Upper St. Johns River Marsh Wildlife Management Area. I'm in here, it's right at dawn. I've been here about 15 minutes, and I'm going to stake out this little pig wallow right here. That little dark trail looking thing's where pigs have been rolling around in the mud to keep themselves cool and keep flies off them and whatnot. So hopefully I'll be able to nail one. It's only about a 20-yard shot, and I'm going to hide on this little berm. Alright, wish me luck.
A big old bull alligator right up there. I don't know if you can see him, see his head, but he keeps staying in front of me. He'd go under for a bit, and he'd come up and look at me, and then keep swimming in front of me, like he's waiting to ambush me or something. But he's growling. He's making that throaty growl the males make. I'm going to try and catch up with him, get a better, closer view, but he just keeps staying about 75, 100 yards ahead of me. A big one, though. I can judge from his head. That's a pretty good sized gator. First big one I've seen today. I just draped this entire tarp. Alright. Well. Alright, so it took me about 25 minutes to load up the canoe and get the car parked and everything. But here's how I load everything up. This is actually pretty lightly loaded. But I have my shotgun and my rifle, another cami net under there. My seat and cushions, my dry goods bag, pistol and holster, an extra paddle, my kayak paddle, tripod, a small cooler. I usually bring a big cooler with like 30 pounds of ice, but today I just brought the small one because it's not far to get an animal out of the bush. I can be back to the dock in an hour. Dry goods box where I just put survival stuff, my bug shirt, anything that has to stay dry. And this is a homemade canoe caddy I made out of a hand cart from like Harbor Freight. A neighbor gave it to me, and I sawed the top off and wrapped it with duct tape and padding underneath. And I can put the canoe on it, pull it over these levees we're going to encounter. And then another cami net, and that's about it. Let's go kill a pig. I don't move, and he doesn't start to run. He just stands there and just keeps looking at me. He can see me, but he knows there's something not right, but he can't figure it out. So I went ahead and made a mistake. I took the safety off quietly and just threw the cami net off me, swung around and shot. I didn't even get... Alright, the camera quit in the middle of that. So I just threw the cami net off, got up, kind of like swung on one knee almost, and fired the round. But the butt of the shotgun was like in the center of my chest. It was a terrible shot, but there was no way else I could do it. It was very awkward. He ran, shot went over his head, and I missed. It's 6:58, July 25th, 2018, Wednesday, and I just crossed behind me the second airboat crossing, and I am now in the southern part of the Valley of the Wild Pigs, at the southern portion, the northern portion of the long Sweetwater Canal, and I have high hopes. I just cast out my lure here and just a little bit of lily pads here, get up here about 100 feet, cast out my Hedon tiny torpedo, see if I can't start catching some bass. That made really good time. It's not even 7 a.m., 6:58, and I'm already down here. I just drug the canoe across that second crossing. There's enough grass there. I didn't empty it, I didn't take a thing out. I used the bow line. I'm not sure that rivet's going to hold. I might have to put in a stronger rivet. I don't want to go flying backwards one day if that thing breaks, which is what will happen. But you can also grab the front of the, underneath the deck of the bow and just pull it. Tell you, with two people it would be super fast and easy. Plus you'd be paddling quicker. Had a headwind too, so wind was out of the south blowing north, so I'm going to have a headwind the whole way here too. But it's very light, a lot of vegetation around here. It shouldn't be too bad. But this morning, even though I went to whatever, I think 2.15 miles in 47 minutes, I could have gone faster without that headwind. But if it holds up, it'll be nice on the way back. They're forecasting 70% chance of thunderstorm by 3 o'clock today, so it's very likely I'm going to be drenched. But it's a beautiful morning so far, and here's where I'm heading. Fish jumping all around me there. It's on. There's a lot of people in here hunting with dogs, and it's raining, and I'm already miserable. And there's signs of pigs everywhere, but I think they're too smart to come out in weather like this. Alright, this is the first time I'm trying this, but I've got the iPhone wrapped with a shoelace and then through the Velcro backing on my hat. I'm wearing my hat backwards to hold it like a GoPro right on my forehead, right above my eyes. So whatever I see, the camera should see, assuming it's straight, which I hope it is. Already seen quite a few alligators. Scared a couple of big ones off the bank. There's my little sputtering tiny torpedo. No, it doesn't have any grass on it. Alright. And then I just let out some line. Alright, I just missed an alligator that came up right here. I've got my cell phone attached to my hat with a shoestring. Alligator just came up right in front of me, but I was too late to turn it on. It's a little one. There's another one up there. I don't know if you can see it up there, but the canal is just straight as an arrow, right in the center. About, it's over 100 yards away. The bubbles from that one that just came up. I'm right over him right now, but that one just went under. But see how this idea works. I just tried it, and I had it aimed a little high, so I got my topwater lure back there. Definitely the lazy man's way of fishing, as I said. But I've already caught 2 bass. Any pig or deer that's walking up here, pow, it's over. I can go so quietly. I'm not right now. I'm talking and I'm splashing and making noise, but I can really creep along quietly. Whoops. Except when I hit the side of the canoe with the fishing reel. Let out a little more line. See if I can't get my third bass here. This bass doesn't even fit in my cooler. I can't even fit this thing in this big cooler that I brought today. Look at this thing. Look at this monster.
All right, I just walked all the way from the Mud Lake Canal Road into Jim Creek and a little beyond. And now I'm walking out, about halfway back. It's a long, hard walk. It's the deepest I've ever come in the Tutusahatchee, as the Indians called it, Chicken Creek, Tusahatchee Wildlife Management Area. And I'm disgusted. This is my 4th full day in here, and I haven't seen a single pig. By way of comparison, I saw 9 pigs in 2.5 hours in Buck Lake. Here's what's happened. These people touting this place as one of the great pig hunting places in Florida don't know what the hell they're talking about. I have gone deeper than any other hunter. I have sat quietly. I have watched. I have looked for tracks. The pigs aren't floating around on magic carpets. I just don't find many tracks throughout most of it, though I did find a lot on the north side, but I haven't hunted that for a while. The pigs they're smart, but they're not building underground bunkers with trapdoors concealed as tree stumps or something. They just sleep in palmetto thickets and stuff. You would spook them up just like you spook up pheasants. What's happened is the FWC took over control of this place, I think in 2007, and they began to tout it as a big hunting area. And they allowed all these people to come in with dogs every year. And every year the amount of game has decreased. And now there's no pigs in here. Even these dog hunters, more often than not, come out without anything. And the way to catch pigs is with dogs. So I'm disgusted. And I don't think that Tusahatchee has hardly any pigs in it whatsoever. And it's got deer, female deer. Why doesn't it have bucks? Because they've all been shot. Because the FWC is now the controlling agency, and they've pushed really hard to get people in here hunting. And a lot of people do come in here hunting. But there's not much game, and that's that. Here's a picture of Mom with wild oranges. Say hi.
Hi.
Nice oranges.
Good Marley.
Yeah. And grapefruit. Grapefruits by the hundreds. Oranges. Oranges. And then a lot more out here. There's some cows that have been up in here. This looks like cows or pigs. But this, if you come down here and look at this tree. This is a 160-year-old tree planted prior to the Civil War by the guy who used to own this plantation. All right. And then a bunch of wild orange trees over here. Oranges galore. We're gonna make orange juice from wild oranges. The first thing I always do when I take off, once I get in the water, is I chamber around in my 9mm. And I put it back in my holster. Because you can call me paranoid, but sometimes I see 800 alligators in a day, and I've never had one act in a manner. I've had them be a little aggressive around nests, but I've never had one try and attack me. But I know what they're capable of, and these big gators could jump over this canoe. I've seen them do some pretty high head slaps. Never seen them go try and grab a canoeist or kayaker, but it has happened. So not that if some 500-pound alligator grabbed me that a pistol would save me. He'd yank me off this thing and have me underwater in no time, but it would be better than trying to fight him with my fingernails and teeth. Well, except for that one big alligator that I thought was a log, I haven't seen any, and I usually see 2 or 3 right around that bend, but I come in here more in the spring and summer fishing, and I used to hunt in here quite a bit, but I would walk in. There's an area you have to walk for like a mile and a half before you can start hunting, but you can park there. It's a secure area and you can walk in. But I have hunted a few times for moorhens, and I've seen a couple of deer running along the bank, but they were does and it wasn't in hunting season. But I have seen game down at the water's edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and load. Oh, that was something big running right through the brush. Doing 360 from right here. That's about 13 feet up. Yeah. That way looks better, but I think this way looks better. I don't know if I can get up here even lining it. It's so shallow.
All right, January 16th, 2014, Buck Lake Wildlife Management Area. This is the area right here where I'm sitting, where I saw 9 of the 12 pigs that I saw in here. Actually 11 of the 12 pigs if you count way down the road. But this very intersection right here is where I shot at the pig right behind me, shot at the huge hog right up here. Right down that road there is where I plugged that big sow running across the road. And then this section of the road is where I shot at the 2 and missed, or maybe not, but had the other 5 bolt across the road just moments later. So this is a good area to stake out. And what I did, instead of putting the cami net over me, I'm just sitting in your chair, dressed in black, so I look like a pig. That's probably not good. And I put the cami net over the back of the car to disguise the tail lights and everything, so they don't see that. That's exactly how I was parked and exactly where I was sitting when I shot at the big sow. She still ambled right out in front of me. So I haven't seen anything yet. It's probably, I don't know, it's right at dawn, 7:30 in the morning or so, just after daylight. And I am waiting. I'm staking out that way and that way. and I can fix my eyes right about my head, right about there, and just by turning my eyes, I can see both left and right. So here I am. There's the car. Pretty easy hunting, but it's a waiting game. We'll see how it goes. Haven't seen anything yet. I've been here about 20 minutes. Bye.
Well, here's something kind of interesting. I've been in this place probably 15 times, and it's always been smooth sailing down through this canal. But I haven't been in here in about a year. And so I came in today expecting it to be the way it's always been. And I don't know if you can see behind me, but I'm carving this trail through all this plant called water lettuce, which can make a waterway impassable for canoes and motorboats. Airboats can go through it. But look at this up here. This is what I'm faced with. I'm going to get through it. I'm surprised I'm making the progress I am. It's not real thick yet, but this stuff will grow so dense it will actually kill the fish because it starves the water of oxygen, and it makes it, when it gets real heavy, it makes it impossible to canoe and kayak through. But it drifts around, and when the wind blows, this stuff may all get blown out of here. But, oh man, it's getting pretty thick now. I'm getting close to the area I'm going to stop at. So hopefully there won't be more of this, though I do see some up right around the bend. This isn't good. So I've had a lot of problems today. I have a leak in my car tire, so I may have a flat tire when I get back. I put a plug in it. I've got some Fix-A-Flat, but where I parked is only a couple miles from the gas station, so hopefully it won't go flat. But then I started having problems with my iPhone. My battery on my iPhone isn't holding a charge, so I'm having to use this cheap Fujifilm camera, and I'm charging it now. Hopefully I can use it again. But right now I can't, so I switched to this camera. And I scared something off the bank, went crashing into the woods. I never saw what it was. It was a deer or a pig, both of which are in season here today, so I missed an opportunity for a shot right there. The thing was like 25 feet from me, but I never saw it. And then I get up here, and there's just this sea of water lettuce that I just carved my way through. And that stuff's not easy to paddle through. It's like the worst. I'd much rather go through lily pads or matted grass, hydrilla. Water lettuce can absolutely shut down a waterway for paddlecraft. It's November 30th, 2015. This is the Herky-Huffman Bull Creek Wildlife Management Area off of 192, about 25 miles west of Melbourne. And it's not a lot of open expanse, very flat. It's kind of hard to find any high ground, but I don't see many pig tracks. There's a few other hunters in here, but I haven't heard a shot go off, and I've been here since 6 a.m. and it's after 10. I haven't heard one gunshot. I think I wasted my time coming out here, but I'm going to keep trying for a while. Heading down to this Billy Lake, where the guy at Allstate recommended, but I was there right at dawn. I don't see any way to walk in there. It's a swamp. The rest of the area is pretty dry, and I will say the roads in here are very, very nice. Probably the best roads I've ever seen at WMA. Just no way you're going to get stuck in here, even in rainy weather. But I have not seen one pig track. I think I saw some deer tracks. Just kind of Not very optimistic, but I bet there's pigs in here. I just don't see any tracks or indications. A few diggings. I did see some diggings, probably tracks around that, but I didn't get out to look. Okay, Billy, like this is where I went this morning. I'm going back down here, but anyway, there's some diggings and there's pigs in here. I just like to see one run across the road or something, so I at least know that they're up and moving. That's where I came from. And that's where I wanted to go and portage across that levee further down the canal. This is the upper St. Johns River marsh. Miles and miles and nothing. You can see why they wanted to drain this back in the 1800s and make farmland out of it. And a lot of it they did, but it messed up the water quality of the St. Johns and Lake Okeechobee and the Everglades. But anyway, so I have a dilemma here. I haven't been in here in a year, and the last time I was in here, this was nice and clear. There's some lily pads and stuff, but you could paddle right through it. Well, I can paddle through this. This is called water lettuce. It's a floating plant, and it's a macrophyte. The old folks used to call them tussocks. They would get these thick islands of floating vegetation, then they would spread out and just block a whole river sometimes. The St. Johns used to be full of them. Well, now they spray it with some type of herbicide or something to, plant killer, not herbicide, but whatever kills plants, and it gets rid of it. But there's a lot of water here, and they don't do it all the time, so they need to come in here. So I got my little canoe caddy out that I made from a hand cart from Harbor Freight that works real well. And I was going to portage around the forest here and then go back into the canal on the south side. But as I started thinking about the effort involved in that, plus I walked down there and it's real overgrown. I can get almost all the way. It almost would be easier just to paddle through here and try and take my chances on this next canal not being full of this crap. But since there's so much of it here, I'm kind of worried about going to all that effort to paddle through this, only to look over the berm there and see it, you know, as far as I can see, nothing but hyacinth and water lettuce and hydrilla and lily pads, and it's impossible to paddle a canoe through that. Quickly it is. You can do it, but it takes forever. And so it's already really slowed me down. Now this little game trail running through here, I actually was looking and I found some pig tracks. I found some pig tracks, and I found some scat over here. I also found some deer tracks. So I've never seen game on this side of the canal. It's always over here in the jungle, but apparently it's here because those tracks were real fresh. We had heavy rain a few nights ago too, so some of those looked like they were laid down in the last 12 hours. They were real fresh tracks. That's encouraging, and so I'm almost tempted just to sit here. The wind's blowing out of the north, coming right at me, so nothing up here is going to smell me. But I can only see about 75 yards down that trail. I'd rather be able to, if I had some type of tree blind or something, I could have a better view, but I can't really see, you know, some pig could come around that corner right now, or deer. But again, I've been in here many times. I've never seen any game on this side of the canal. It's always over here in the forest. It's too marshy out here. And then when I was sitting here trying to decide what to do, which I guess I'm still trying to decide, I kept hearing these squirrels barking over here. And gray squirrels are in season right now. That's a minor heron. I thought it was a squirrel, but either way, they kind of sound alike actually. But there were some squirrels in the trees talking to each other. And so I said, you know, brought my shotgun in case I saw some squirrels or rabbits or a turkey. And right now in here you can hunt deer, right now, deer, pigs, armadillos, rabbits, turkeys, squirrels, nutria, beaver, otter, coyote, and I'm probably forgetting one or two, but pretty much anything that you can hunt in Florida except black bear you can hunt in the upper St. Johns River marsh right now in the middle to end of November. and you can hunt it with a rifle or a shotgun or a bow if you want. In a few months, they'll go to small game season. You can't use centerfire rifle, you'll have to use a shotgun. So anyway, not really sure what to do. I guess I've talked here and messed it up. I'll probably paddle back out into this mess, try and get across, and climb up on that berm and go into the swamp over there. All right, it's about 7:30 in the morning, 7:45 on the 19th of January 2014. And I thought I would videotape this because there's so much frost on the ground, it almost looks like snow. Look at it. Little like 3-foot alligator. You want some lettuce, don't you? You want me to throw you some lettuce?
Look at all of them.
Look at all that over there.
Look at all the barnacles on that one.
Yeah. Look at them all lounged up in there. That's a lot of manatee fritters. We could make a lot of steaks. They say sea turtle and manatee are the two best seafoods in Florida, and they're the two you'll go to jail for getting. Oh, that one's got scars on his back from a propeller. He just went under, but he had a pretty scar. That one's got a big scar on his back. I launched today at 6:50, which is like 30 minutes before daylight. There was just a little bit of light in the eastern sky. And I just arrived at my first of 4 portages. I have to go across this airboat ramp I'm standing on and get into all that. And I got to paddle through all that. I got another portage, then I'm going to do 3.5 miles that way, all the way down to this flood control dam. 3.5 miles back, then I'll have to portage each of the 2 that I did coming back. So that's 4, and 6 if you count carrying it from the car down to the water. So I'm going to be pretty tired by the end of the day. Plus it'll be at least 12 miles. I paddled right through all that the other day, all the way down into that. That's where the North Indian Field campground is. and out and all the way back up the St. John's, down the St. John's. And I got to go down there, but it looks like it's going to be really easy. I mean, there's hardly any lily pads. So I'm going to go slow and quiet now. But look at this. That's what I came through. And actually, that little strip right there was made by me. That wasn't there. And this last 20-25 feet was really tough getting through that. I mean, I was struggling. The only thing freaky about this is alligators and snakes. But, oh, a little frog must have hopped in my boat at some point. When I got up to shore and docked, he hopped right out. See if he's still down here. He was just sitting by the boat. He wasn't. He was just staring at me. Wonder if he swam away or... Yeah. Oh, no, there he is. He's still there. Right there. You see him? So I had a rider, and he's just hanging out. He's not afraid of people. Look at that fish. That is a hefty bass. Heck yeah. I've come a long way. 6 miles one way. That's pretty much the south end of Lake Helen Blazes right there. This is that long berm, this is the same levee that runs all the way up there to the Valley of the Wild Pigs. A good area for game. Doesn't it seem like there'd be some deer in here? Pigs. I know they're in here. They're just all bedded down right now. There's a couple of black crappie, nice 1-pounders. I've caught 4 fish already. A bass that was small, about 11 inches, and I threw it back. Maybe I should have kept it. I caught the 2 black crappie, and I caught like a 3-foot gar. But that's my 5th fish I've caught, just trolling this topwater Hedon torpedo. All right, it's 9 a.m., and this is my 9th fish. This bass is a little more like it. This is a pretty good one, about 16 inches or so. Pretty nice bass, probably 1 pound, 8 ounces. So I've thrown back 3 bass already. Caught 2 big 1-pound black crappie, a 3-foot long gar, a bluegill. Like I said, I've thrown back 3 bass that were too small. It's my 9th fish. But I'll tell you, there's no way to walk in there. You got to go in there in a canoe, an airboat, or that's it. Helicopter. You know, there's no way to get in there. Look how high the water's been recently. So that alligator, I actually threw the Hedon tiny torpedo at it and buzzed it in front of him. He started to go for that. And I'm like, you know, no, don't grab my lure. And then about not even 5 minutes later, this other alligator comes up, which is about a 9-footer, and he comes up right by me, closer than any alligator's ever been to me. I mean, he's like 5 feet away from the canoe. I'm like, oh man. I grab for the camera, turn it on, it's dead. I'm like, oh man, this would make a great video. But then I look up and I notice the rascal swimming right at the canoe pretty fast. I mean, he was going to be right to the edge of it within a second or two. So I like grabbed the kayak paddle, dropped the dead phone, and paddled away from him about 20 feet. And I turn around, he's still coming at me. And I don't think he was like going to attack me or anything. I don't think. I think somebody's been feeding that sucker. That was a pretty good sized alligator, about 8-9 foot. When I was north of the WMA, but I hadn't turned around yet, I come around the corner, there's this huge hornet's nest. I mean, this thing was like the size of like 8 basketballs. It was huge. So I'm like, holy mackerel, it's the biggest bee's nest I've ever seen. It's got, you know, they're hornets, and they're swarming around. And man, I was like, oh gosh, I got to go under this thing. Well, it was hanging kind of to the side, but it was over the water. But I was able to quickly go around it, and then of course when I came back, I had to go back. That's the first. Oh, it's a bluegill, and look how I've got him hooked. I don't have it loaded with a heavy cooler today. It's loaded very light. But I am standing in water, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tow the thing. In fact, here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to grab my tow line, I'm going to put it over my shoulder, and I'm going to walk through this swamp. And if I get bit by a snake or eaten by an alligator, then that's just the way it goes. Oh, it's working good. It's coming right behind me. Here's a pygmy rattlesnake right here in the road. Of course, I gotta get out and mess with him. Hi, rattlesnake. Hi, rattlesnake. Well, it probably saved his life because cars come down this dirt road. I'm about as close to being in heaven right now, and about as happy as I've ever been. Just right now, just hunting these moorhens. Got him. So that's the first time I've been able to do that and have the camera work. All right. Well, there they are, September 26, 2018, all 15 of my moorhens by 2 o'clock. There's just no way. Look at all these beautiful yellow flowers out here. I just sent Mom a picture of those. There's a little canal along the side here with water in it. But I mean, it's so shallow, that's the problem too. I mean, the width is almost doable, but it's too shallow. They were chasing bait fish and really, there's one, really stirring up the water. They're creating a big wake, like, but now they're just kind of porpoising up and down. I caught a ladyfish, and you see the lure, I got it on like a Rapala, red and white Rapala looking lure. And I was actually casting and retrieving, I wasn't trolling, so maybe that's what I need to do. Hi, it's the 20th of May 2019 at 6:37 in the morning, and I am here once again at 5:20 where I was at 4 days ago on the 16th, and it's a beautiful morning right at sunrise. I got here at 6:05, so it took me just about exactly 30 minutes to get the canoe unloaded and untied and loaded up. Got it ready to go. I'm trying something different today. I'm putting the cooler in front and the dry goods Tupperware thing in the back, see how that works. Okay, I just left the boat ramp and I've already seen 2 alligators. I mean, just left the boat ramp. As in, there it is. And there's an alligator right between me and the boat ramp, right off the bow. Now that's a little one. I just saw a big one out here. You get nervous. Alright, time to embark.
Alright, it's 9 in the morning, and I've walked so far in the Seminole Ranch Wildlife Management Area that I just crossed a fence that says entering the Charles H. Bronson State Forest. So I'm in the Charles H. Bronson State Forest, which is where I hunted before. So I'm not even sure I'm meant to be in here. I don't think hunting season is open in here right now, but it's a very, I'm on the Florida Scenic Trail, which is to Florida what the Pacific Crest Trail is to Oregon. They've got the trail marked with these orange blazes on the trees so you can't get lost. So that's kind of nice. I've already been lost a couple of times, and what should have taken me 20 minutes to get out took me an hour to get out. And I appeared at a different area than I thought I was coming out at. But I'm going to keep walking into here a little bit, and if I see a pig, I'm going to shoot him. Alright, it's Wild Pig Safari Day number 4. And I'm walking into a spot that I found a couple of days ago. A lot of pig diggings and pig poop and pig tracks. So I'm going to set up my sniper blind and hope one runs out in front of me. Just after dawn. I've been here since 6:45, and it's quite beautiful. Very quiet, except for a few birds. This is the last day of the season, and then it's over for 11 days, and it starts back up for 4 days. So if I don't get a pig today, I don't get a pig. That's a black bear. Wow. I've seen a lot of pig tracks. Those are bear tracks. Just thought you might want to see that. There's There's something moving around over there. Something big in the brush. It's either a pig, a deer, or a bear. Those are deer tracks. And all this is fresh because it rained last night. So since I walked this road yesterday, a bear, a bobcat, and at least one deer have come down here. The bear track was very fresh, and the bobcat track was very fresh too, very fresh. Those were both put down in the last 24 hours, almost certainly last night. Maybe 5 minutes before I came around the bend in the road here. I don't know. I must admit, I had not really contemplated being potential food for a bear, but there must be a bunch of them in here. This place is really remote.
I parked the canoe right here, walked up here to check it out, which I'm going to show you, decided I definitely need to get the camera and film this. Came walking back down the embankment here, took about 2 steps in this water and slipped and fell on my hands and knees. I fell hard and I hurt my hip on my right side, which is my leg that is already injured. Ow! It's hurting right now just walking. I hope I'm okay. Can you imagine breaking a hip out here? But you got to see this area. There's fields of fire for 1,000 yards in every direction, more. I could come in here, bring the canoe right there. Ow, my leg is really hurting. This is not good. Bring the canoe right here, pull it up on shore, and just sit right here with my rifle. I'm shooting this on the iPhone to see if it'll come out better, but straight ahead are all these giant turtles in the water. Try and zoom in on this, see if I can. Do you see those humps in the water? Those are big turtles. They're yellow-eared sliders. I just looked at them with the binoculars. They're big yellow-eared sliders. Oh, I'm running aground. They're all eyeballing me now. And this is my creek just to the left, but turn this over. Hey, turtles. Hi there. Oh, boy. Oh, man. All right. They're not even spooking. They're just sitting there. All right, I'm going to have to get out of this. I'm in like 4 inches of water and I've run aground, so I'm gonna have to get out of here. So I think I've made the decision to go ahead and turn around here and go back. My legs bother me. It is super hot. I hate this. Down to less than half a gallon of water. Should have brought 2 gallons. I had a 2nd gallon in the car, but I didn't bring it. And I just only ate half my lunch. I ate 1 Pop-Tart and half of a liverwurst sandwich because I just wasn't feeling it. So I hope I'm not getting some type of heat stroke or something, but you know, I don't want to get sick and have more problems. My arms are really sunburnt. Is the end of the lake, but I'm not making it there today. So, back I go. And my back is doing better than I was afraid it would, but like I said, this morning my back was really giving me twinges of pain, and it's because I slipped in the kitchen a couple days ago and caught myself just before I fell. But I kind of turned my hip at an awkward angle, and I knew I'd pulled a muscle in my back then, but the next day it felt pretty good. I was like, oh, I'll be all right. But I tell you, I'm really in bad shape here. I'm worried most of all about my toe. I'm risking infection. Really risking infection. I could lose my foot over this. Getting that canoe off the roof today was a bit of a pain in the ass. Then, while I'm sitting there, I mean, I felt pretty good all day, but when I try and like adjust to get some circulation in my ass by pushing up on the seat, that really hurt my back. Like it would extend my vertebrae or something. Really, man, like a sharp pain would go through me. You can watch me line the canoe some more. There's nothing else I can do. I'm in like 3 inches of fast moving water. I'm not blind by myself. Snakes and alligators. I thought there was a snake getting in the canoe. I saw this thing in the water rippling, getting closer and closer. It turned out it was just like a snag with some weeds on it. And I guess that's about it. Yeah.